What's up, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back. We are about to start assembling the forged engine for the Golf. That is right. It is time to get cracking. Things may or may not go wrong, but you guys will have to wait and see. Let's go. Got all the valves already labeled from 1 to 8. The inlet valves have already been done. I have done one pass on the exhaust valves already with a coarse paste. Now we're going to go over it with a fine grade. So what you want to do, you have your valve suction cup tool. You want to put a dab of the valve paste, maybe 3 or 4 places on the valve, but only on the edge where it's supposed to be ground. So I don't know if you'll be able to see that very well, but it's only where it needs to be. You'll hear the sound change once the paste has actually started working and it's separated. So what you want to do, lift it a few times just to spread the paste around evenly. You hear that? Just then it went to more of a high pitch. And you lift and drop the valve to try and spread the paste a bit more. And you basically do that for a few minutes per valve. So obviously how to check it is you'll pull the valve out, give it a little wipe down, and I don't know how well you're going to see it, but there is, like, on the edge, instead of it being a gloss shiny, you've now got a satin or more of a matte edge, and that shows obviously the mating surface. So you inspect this one and you inspect the actual head itself just to make sure that there's no, you don't want to see like actual rings. If you see rings, then it means some of the paste has been sat in the same place and it's not done its job correctly. You want to see a very smooth band. So you basically do that a few times. You repeat the steps. Head will be flipped over. Valve stem seals will go on, and we can continue building the head up. I say the engine. We're building the head. For each valve that is ground to a cylinder or a position in the cylinder, that will have a slightly different seating pattern to, say, number 1 and number 2. So if I got them mixed up, they may not seat correctly. What I'm going to do now is just give them a bit of a spray down, make sure that we get rid of all of the paste that may be on the valves or on the head. So now we're going to do the valve stem seals, and we have loads of valve stem seals, and then we've also got these little things here which are to slide over the valves. So these help us install the valve stem seals without tearing the actual the seals on the inside. So that's like a protective sleeve. What I use to press it down is an 11mm socket, because the 11mm goes on the outer edge of the seal itself, so no damage is caused. You can see the seal here. Now this 11mm goes perfectly over and doesn't touch the rubber seal. It just catches the lip of the metal piece, just enough to push this over. We drop it over the valve and we push it down. That's another one fitted. Take the seal off, and then we go again. There we go. Right, also what you guys have got to make sure you have, there's a dowel here and there's a dowel here. That means the head gasket will sit where it needs to sit and it won't allow the head to move about. So, oh, this is exciting. You always make sure you're wearing gloves with this because it does get a bit messy. I'm going to make sure I smother grease on both sides of these washers. No, we don't want to do that. Whatever you do, guys, don't be dropping your washers into your head because you'll have to try and fish them out. That's never good, man. Right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit of grease on the inside of each nut as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm not sure where the video cut out, but as you can see, I talked all the heads in sequence to their specifications. I have also added all of the hydraulic lifters. All of the hydraulic lifters are now in place, but I can't put the rocker arms on until we have the springs, retainers and collets in. So that I'm going to leave for a second and I'm going to move on to replacing oil filter housing. This goodness. So we've got a lovely aluminium one as opposed to the plastic. It does come with a brand new gasket, front and rear, and I believe there should also be an oil filter in here as well. So I'm going to pull the oil cooler off now, and then we're going to get this changed out. Right, we're going to put a little bracket on here now for that sensor, for that knock sensor, which we have here is one I prepared earlier. So it's going to slot in there. We've got a bolt to go in there. Right, so that's secured now. Oh, let's go grab the injectors. My injectors were still in my inlet manifold. So what I'm going to do is, I mean, to be fair, these injectors were in the car for maybe just, well, about 1.5 years. So what I'm going to do, before these go back in, we're going to do an injector test and a service on these before they go back in the car. So we'll do that now. I just realized that what I have done for the last half an hour or so, maybe, I've been talking away to the camera, and guess what? When I pressed record, it wasn't recording. It took a picture. So I'll talk you through where we're at now, again, for the last time, hopefully, because I can see it's recording. Oh, right, so injectors have been done. I have fitted new retainer clips, which are these black things, and the caps, which they kind of go together like that on the injector. If you ever have to change your injectors and one of these is broken, like this one, then not to worry. These are they're just there to make sure the injector sits where it needs to sit. So I've got the injectors in now. Injector 3 was playing up, and that was a little bit funny. I had to clean it about 3 times to get it to the specified parameters that we need to see in order for it to test good. So something to keep an eye on is injector 3. I can't imagine it's going to be an issue now. Obviously it's cleaned, it's got new metal baskets in it, it's got new graphite seals, so injectors are all good. I'm happy to continue. There wasn't nothing wrong with this. God damn. That sounds like a Nokia engine. This one's a little bit crappy. You can see it's a bit crappy. It's a bit dirty on the outside, which is not a big deal. It's the inside that matters. The one that I had spare is absolutely spanking on the mating surface, which means we're not going to have any coolant leaking. We're not going to have any oil leaking, even though it has got brand new gaskets. It can happen when you have got raised surfaces like, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. On this, there are a few raised surfaces. It doesn't help that we've got the crazy light behind. Yeah, a few raised surfaces on this. So this one would have been a bad one to put on. So we've done that. We've got the new thermostat on. We've got thermostat on. We've got new oil cooler, or brand new second-hand oil cooler. We've got the injectors placed. And I was just talking about using rubber grease when you do a lot of stuff with, obviously, seals that can pinch. So there's a bit of rubber grease on that. We will put a little bit of rubber grease on each of the injector seals so that they don't pinch when going into the inlet manifold, or when inlet manifold goes on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting some of this pipe work on. We are going to get these sorted, and then yeah, we've also got this one to go on the side because that had to be replaced as well. These bolts have got to come off now so that this bracket can go on, which is my mistake. Silly. And this is the other pipe that I said about putting a bit of rubber grease on so that we don't pinch anything. This one goes over here like this. Nip that up by hand with the ratchet. You ain't, wrong one. You ain't got to go crazy. This pipe obviously to go on there. So I'm definitely building this engine in a very, very weird way. I would have liked to just build the head completely, build the bottom end completely, but I'm being backwards, guys. I'm just doing stuff in such a random order. Some of you guys watching might be pulling your hair out. This is like what goes on inside the head of someone with ADHD. Hold on, what's going on there, mate? There we go. So that pipe over there. Lovely. And this one to do up. The thing is as well, when you're building these engines and putting everything together out of the car, you've kind of got to try and figure out if you needed to get to this clip or that clip or that clip with everything in the car, would you be able to? That's kind of how you got to look at it. So I'm going to fit this RS4 pressure return valve, fuel pressure return valve. I'm going to fit this now, and then I can fit the inlet manifold on. I'm going to put a little bit of rubber grease, a little dab of rubber grease around these seals. Now, you don't need to go absolutely crazy, as long as they've got a little bit of grease, because you don't want to get any of this grease into the injector, because you cause yourself some problems. So the injector loom will go here. One slides in there, one slides in here, then obviously each plug to each injector, like so. It's a satisfying noise, that little click, 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 click. And then this is camshaft position sensor. I don't know where it is. I pulled it out. It's probably in the box with the other bits from the head. I can still fit that. Inlet manifold is back in place. So, without further ado, boys and girls, I present to you the inlet manifold. I can't tell you why I'm like this, guys. The only plus side of putting an engine together like this is you've got a lot more space. Some of the tricky bits, like the inlet going over the fuel injector loom, technically should be easier, but you can see that that has rolled back on itself, annoyingly. I need that to stay put. Stop playing games with me. Stop playing games, huh? So that's all three of those clips in place. And now look, oh, it's starting to look like an engine again. So we'll have two 10mm bolts to go either side at the bottom, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts for the inlet manifold on the top. So same again, a little bit of grease on the rubber seal. And pop that in. Give it a little twist to locate it properly. Then the bolt goes in. Right. Camshaft position sensor plugged in. Fuel rail pressure sensor plugged in. I actually forgot how bad condition this was, so I've just thrown it into the media blaster. She's looking pretty clean now. Okay, so this is the old head of the old engine. We're not going to be using this head for a few reasons. It's an AXX head anyway, but I also managed to damage the head quite a while back. One of the hydraulic lifters, or like the lifter arms, popped off and got jammed, and I will try and show you guys the damage. Once I've taken the bits off, I'll strip this head completely so you guys can see. I'll take the camshafts out, I'll take the cam cradle off, and you'll see the damage that was caused. Not that it's bad enough that the head's leaking any oil or anything like that, but I'm not happy with reusing this. It can be used, like as I said, the damage happened and I was still using this until the engine blew up. So technically, the damage on this is only cosmetic. It doesn't stop the way the head works. Like it don't make a difference basically. But I think I've got BWJ head or something like that. So yeah, I'm gonna start pulling off some of these bits. This coolant line with the heat shield and stuff, I'll pull that off, clean that up. Then I'll get the turbo off because the turbo is going to go onto this engine, and we'll get this cam chain casing off because this has been machined out obviously to take the roller cam conversion kit. So I'll show you guys that when I am fitting the engine back together and we're putting a high pressure fuel pump on and stuff. As I said in this video already, we are doing everything in a random order because I don't have everything to hand, and it's all been done on separate days. So you'll see change of clothes, you might see a good haircut, no scruffy face, but it is what it is. We've still got to get some content for you guys. I just apologise that it's not rolling out as quick as it was at the beginning of the year. But let's get started. Do you know what? Everything on here is very tight indeed. Jesus. Oh, I've done it. I've done my fingers. A lot of the time when I manage to hurt myself, it's best not to look. This is actually crazy tight. So we go. So either way, you have to undo this. You have to undo all of these bolts. So even though these bolt together, they bolt into the bracket as all four, which is a little bit awkward, but it is what it is. And we've got a Motorsports Creation one underneath with the homemade bracket. I do these as a kit and they are amazing because it stops your intake wobbling all over the place. So we should have 7 bolts in the timing chain casing. Oh, make that 6 because we've not got one in this top part here. So we'll have 7 bolts in here. Oh, should have 7 bolts, but we have 6. And you can see how clean it is. I love this. This is amazing when you've got clean stuff to work with. So this gasket's got to be replaced anyway. And what you should always do when you pull this timing chain casing off is have a feel of these plastic rings. Give them a little bit of a shimmy back and forth. Sometimes they're broken in there and that can give you issues with reading your timing chain and stuff like that. It gives incorrect readings. Obviously because timing chain is oil pressure related. So yeah, we've got that off. I think I'm also gonna unbolt this, and yeah, we will save this because these sometimes can be an issue. If you have a feel inside there with the underside of your finger, if it does feel notchy or has any ridges on it, it needs to be replaced. So some of the older AXX engines, instead of having plastic rings, they had metal rings and they would wear away at that camshaft adjuster. Yeah, obviously when that happened, you need to replace the camshaft adjuster. So I'll keep that as a spare. It's a good thing to have spare. Let me put the locking tool on and I'm gonna gun it off. Which way we gotta go? Backwards. Let's go. See? Special socket that you have to use for the camshaft adjuster. It is not a T60 or T50. It does actually have flat edges, so special tools are required. There we go. And you shouldn't do this. Don't do what I just done. Never know, you may end up bending a camshaft or something like that, creating more issues for yourself. Yeah. Look at that, guys. And it's all good in there. That's where I was talking about the edges come in there. So we've only got to undo 5. There is 9 in total. There's 4 on the bottom and then we have 5 on the top, but we only need to do the 5 on the top to get the turbo off. By the looks of it, maybe not all the studs, but most of the studs are pulling. Right, so 4 out of the 5 studs pulled out with the actual nuts. So let's get that nut off. And it should be a simple case. Just lifting her off. I did say that I would strip this head completely for you guys and show you how a head comes apart. So what I'm going to do is I'll spin this around. I believe should be a 15 or a 16 mil socket. So I'll just grab both and I'll go for a 16. 16 it is. There we go. There's a tiny little slot here and the camshaft is tapered. I'm gonna give it a wallop from the back. There we go. And what you'll also see is in the camshaft there is a half moon, or I don't know what they call it, timing key or a rocket key or something. So you don't want to lose them. You need that. So we get that out of the way, should I say. And you notice all the green gunk. So this is genuine sealant from Volkswagen for when you seal the camshaft cradle. So I think we might have, I think it's about 20 bolts on the top, or 28, something like that. T30, so I'm going to leave them all in place. I'm just going to undo them.
So yeah, that's your camshaft cradle there. So it's camshaft cradle removed. And then obviously, as long as you have already disconnected your cam belt side, which is this side, you can just take the camshafts out, like so. And then you would inspect them for like scoring and stuff like that, which this one has quite a lot of scoring on the very end one, look. That is actually horrendous. That's that. And then obviously you've got each of your hydraulic arms, hydraulic lifters, should I say. So these are the rocker arms. As you can see, this one actually literally fell apart when I took the camshaft out, cam cradle off. So yeah, that should clip in. So I'll show you by pulling these apart now. You guys may have seen them in a video before where I stripped something down, but they literally clip in. Come on. So like that. We got about 18 of those. But yeah, so what happened when the damage occurred is these jumped off. I could show you guys, damn! I could show you guys exactly which ones jumped off. It was number 2 on cylinder 1, and it was number 1 on cylinder 4. Look at that. So you see that? You can see that the scoring is so bad. It's so deep that it actually cracked the head. So on the outside of the head, you can see a hairline crack. It didn't actually get as bad to the point where the oil was leaking. And then the same over on cylinder 4, number 1 valve. So yeah, it's a little bit crazy. On the side of the head here, you can see where it was jammed. Do you know what? I have replaced these camshafts. I think it damaged the camshafts as well. The front camshaft was really badly damaged, I remember. So camshaft has been replaced as well. So that had a camshaft, and obviously this, as you can see guys, is why we will not be using this head. Right, so that is it guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'm not going to complete this engine build on this video, unfortunately. I will need to wait until the valve springs and all of that stuff are here. We'll do cam belt, coolant pump, we'll do timing chain. And once the head is built up, the turbo is on, we're going to flip the engine upside down. We're going to do the balance shaft and get everything else done. Can't do the balance shaft before the crank. So, com rods bolted up, crankshaft, balance shaft, sump, and then that's it. It sounds like almost nothing, but it's still a lot to do. And time. So time is precious. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching the Beastmode Developments YouTube. Beastmode, that's it, to the world.